So this is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and we turned the page over there. We're now on page Mem Dalet. As we're reading along in this section, we want to understand that there are people who actually know. Here we're getting kind of a scientific view. Of course, if you didn't see somebody that, weren't instructed in this by somebody really understood it. And also, I'm thinking at the same time as we're understanding the lines in the face, that's what we were talking about yesterday, and we're talking about the hairs of the head, which we're about to talk about today, that this also may be referring to something much higher. But on the other hand, it seems to be that this is a manifestation of something that's coming from a higher place, and it appears in people. Let's go over here and see. We'll read along and continue to try to understand. We get a little something underneath this page, and let's get started. So the Zohar starts like this, and it says, "Maska lefarish and yani asara." So let's start talking about what's going on with the hairs. He's talking about the hairs of the head and the face. So he says, "Ofen rishon." So this is the first way we can understand it. Isara da tal yuvukum. If the hair is hanging down, but it's black. Now, what does it mean? It means Isara zecha betoloi umashulosh. It goes hang down. Hu shachar. It's black. Of a mixed thlasa sirtuti misirta diyamina. Of a mitzvah, so on his forehead, yesh shlosha sashartutim. There are 3 different lines or wrinkles, let's say. He says, the yamin on the right side. So he was the word shirtut, who kavdak. It's a very thin line, the chaza, but a strong one. But orech hametzach that goes across, that the wrinkles in the forehead. Usren b'smala. So there are what he says. There are 3 on the right side and 2 on the left. Shnayim mitzad small al shalom metzach. So he says avula ibischadron ilan be'ilan, and they don't join together. Ve'enim ibischadron, they don't come together. V'nokim elu chazelu, they don't touch each other. That is elu hayaminis imas smolis. So those are on the right side and those are on the left. V'od b'star yamina, but then you look on the right side again. Is tlasa rishim dekikim. There are very thin lines also over there. The amvrach habalaychul that pass through that side. B'tzad yamin yesh lo shlosha rishimos dakos ha'ovras barocha v'lamala lamata that passed over on its length from the top to the bottom. Al hashartutim sheba'orach, and that is over the ones that were. Let me see if I didn't make a mistake here. Barocha v'lamala lamata. Okay, so hashartutim sheba'orach. Now, let me read this again because I lost the place a little bit. So he says that you have the 3 lines on the right, 2 lines on the left. They don't join together. That okay, that's where I'm at now. Then you look on the right side. There are also 3 more impressions. The kikim, very, very thin. The arvin, the laichu that pass through that side. B'tzad yamin, yesh shlosha rishimos dakos ha'ovras melrocha v'lamala lamata that passed along the breadth from up above down below. Now, the breadth, I guess he means, I'm not sure exactly what he means, but he said because they go up and down. Al hashartuvim sheba'arach, and they're on top of the wrinkles that go lengthwise. Now, this sounds like these are vertical, and the other ones are horizontal. That's the way I understood it. I'll read it again. He says, B'tzad yamim yesh shlosha rishimos dakos on the right side, ha'ovras barochav melamala lamata that pass through. I guess they're going. I'm thinking they're going from the top to the bottom because he said sheyesh lo rishos ovras barochav melamala lamata. They go from the top to the bottom. So it sounds like there's one on the right side, one in the middle of that side, and one on the left of that side. What sounds like going from the top to the bottom. So b'tzad yami yesh shlosha rishimos dakos ha'ovras barochav melamala. They go across the breadth from up above going down below. Al hashartuvim sheba'orach, because there are other wrinkles that go the other way. Ve'inin shvilin le'me'evav al inin shartusim achronim. Rishimos elu. So now these new impressions he's talking about, hey shvilim, they're paths, la'alvor al osam ashartuvim acherim, in order to pass into the other shartusim that are other wrinkles that are going the other way. Of a star smola, now on the left side, Chamesh v'chad minei zer v'arka. Now you go to the left side, the b'tzad small, yesh chamesh rishimos, there you find 5 wrinkles. Very thin, dakos. V'achas bechem ketane b'archa, and one of them is very short. Da kaima b'go oz zayin, v'oz sadi, heima emes, so hein emes, she'adam zeh toloi v'omed v'oz zayin. So this shows you, so this phrase, let's go back to this. Da kaima b'go oz zayin, v'oz tzadi. So this person, I'm going to translate this, as looking at the matik a little bit, trying to help myself out. He says this person is in between these two concepts. One concept is the concept of Zayin. Zayin is a concept we said before is Chesed. V'o Sadik, and the other one is Yisod. Hein Emes she'adam zecha b'tolu b'ombe b'o Zayin, v'o Sadik. She'heim morim shehu mushrosh b'gar. This is told you this person is rooted in what we would call the expanded consciousness of the spheros of the Rosh, which are Chesed, Chochmah, Bina, Das. Also, but not just that, uv'chesed shibi yisod shebo kol ha'tiferes, and so also he has a chesed, and then in between yisod and chesed, you're going to run into tiferes, which is mean that they're all together, k'fi simon and sarosav, and this is what you see according to the signs of his hairs. So therefore, this is what this person should have, all of these really great midos. Kasha the chos, he doesn't anger easily. V'nok the ritzos, but he makes up easily. Ma'arech apo, he holds back his anger b'tzad hakeser, and this is all from the side of the keser of the rosh. Einav ma'arech b'chochma misnageg bo ba'anav. So his eyes, I said it wrong. Onav, this person is humble, or humble person. And he has a lot of wisdom, and the humility that comes from knowledge. This is what he uses. So he says, close his eyes from seeing anything bad. This he gets from the side of Bina. Gomel Chesed, this person looks for good things to do. And he runs after people that need him or he could help. So he says that this person wants to do something good. He wants to do something for the person's body, not help him physically, or won't help him. He needs money, or he can speak to him in a nice way. But all of this is trying to give something. It's a side of chesed. So mana rak, he answers if a person says something, but he answers in a nice way, softly. V'lev nishbar, he's a person of a broken heart, of the nidke. So, and this person is also humble dan lahachnia as a Gevurah hazoka. He has the ability to be able to push down the really bad traits that a person might have in Gevurah. Osik b'Torah, this person learns Torah. B'Torah b'kol cheshko, he learns with all of his might, mitzad teferes, and this he does from the side of teferes. Ish sholhum l'kol adam mitzad yisod, and then of course he has all of these midos that he is saying are combined in this person, and so therefore he's a man of peace, and this comes from the side of his yisod. But if you look at the signs that are on his forehead, though, mamash hefech sa'ara. So if you look at the person's forehead now, and he wants to give us signs that we see contrasting the hair to the forehead, the hair of this person showed that this person had tremendous midos. But on the other hand, his forehead did not. V'chein in testakel. So if you take a look, then tishkach kritzin kifin al chore einov the mischabnim dabadah. Oz Tim says that what happens then is that you find Hagabel Shehem Sa'aros Kashim, that the eyebrows, which have tough hairs in them, Sha'al Chore Einov, that is the eyebrows over the eye sockets, Shemischavrim Bezeh Bezeh, where they're actually, in this person, they're actually touching each other. That is the right eyebrow and the left. Im Hasmola, that is a Yaminim, Im Hasmolim. So this is showing you the tie and the mixing up of these different koichos. That is the koichos of the right, the koichos of the left. Base gavos, so these two eyebrows, shehem al shnei chori enayim, which are above the eye sockets, heim sod chesed the Gevurah. So you have these two opposites. They don't get along. Now the nose has the ability, is a middle line. So the nose has the ability to be able to join them together. Shehu so the Tiferes, hanikra osom, hanikashra osom, that ties them together, and allows for the possibility that the shefa between these two opposing forces of the eyes, of the eyebrows, he's saying of the eyebrows, it would allow them to drain, so to speak, down into, to pour out their shefa. Amnam kashemitzchavrim, but then what happens is if the two eyebrows are actually joined together, the gabos, whose siman shenikashru chesed, the Gevurah, it's a sign that the two are tied together, of a chaskimo ledin v'lerah, and then the Gevurah will be more powerful because that's what it is, and it will subjugate the chesed. So let's go on a little bit more, and let's see just a little bit more of the Zohar. This is a man, kasan, a man who gets angry easily. But not quickly. He doesn't get angry fast. He gets angry little by little. Because even if the person makes a tremendous flaw in the things that he does, he gets all the wrong ideas about why or what he wants to do. Because nonetheless, though, we said before, he said in yesterday's year, he said that the hair is permanent. So the way that a person is born, the hair doesn't change. It just grows out. So he said, so he still has an impression of goodness, which can be seen from the goodness which is seen in his hairs. So what he does, he's able to hold back Picasso, his anger, yomim rabim, for a long time. Ad shanach v'nirga misratza, until it calms down completely. And he says in mitzratza, and he's able to make up again, that is, with the object of his anger. So this is a person who's hard to get angry, but on the other hand, but also it's difficult for this person to accept another person's, let's say, apology. Let's get out of the light a little bit more, if I can. This person thinks he's a chacham. He thinks about himself, but that's not true. But rather he's proud about qualities that he doesn't have. Not only that, but this person zokif as rosho, he lifts up his head, to look at things that are not fit for him to look at. Mare mitzutzel the bar, who bal mariva machlokas bebechutz. He's a person that gets into fights. He argues with people outside. But when you come to his house, lav hochi, that's not the case. Outside of his house, he's in fights and arguments and different things with different people. But beso ain't a bal mariva. But there he doesn't fight. Ki sof. Yeshlo od ma'at mitzad shorsho, because there still remains within the person, when he comes back to roost, so to speak, in his home. He comes back to his original self, as the Matuk says. Hatera, okay. It's not such an important thing by him, the istaklav lilmod, but to look at it and to learn from it. Milin de b'nei nasha hashivim alei k'matul. He said, people come to rebuke him, tell him he should be learning or do this or that. They look at him like a burden, like somebody's just stuck a big pile of something heavy on him. And he answers them when they give him rebuke. He argues with them. Because you see there, that's the flaw that goes into all of his good traits. Hefech simoni sa'ara, which is the opposite of what you would think in regards to his hair. But here he says that the eyebrows really show you something different. Because through this Ruach HaKadusha, so because if you look at the person's original midos, he says his that you could see from his hair that his hair was smooth and black. But what happened is the raw, but they all switched around and it became bad. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. This is the second day. This is the Torah for the second day of the Parsha of Yisro. Today is the day of Gevurah.